In this session, we will be covering like what cloud computing is. Like we will be starting with cloud computing, and then we will have introduction to AWS, like, and then its services, how AWS works. So we will be covering all that part. Okay. So when we starts with cloud computing, so cloud computing is basically delivering of computing services like servers, okay, storage databases, networking, software, all these over internet. So here internet is known as cloud, okay. So it is basically for providing the faster innovation, flexible resources, and for economy of a scale. So it is like, let's suppose you need a machine, okay, you need a Linux machine of 2 GB memory and 1 vCPU.
Mhm.
So earlier in past, what we used to have, we need to buy, like we need to buy our systems for setting up the on premises, and then we have to set up them in our data store and then use it, okay. And then once we buy that 2 GB memory and 1 vCPU system, then it will be totally ours, okay. Even if it is in use, it will be ours. If it is not in use, then it will be to us only, and we can't like provide, like we can't use it for 8 GB memory, right? Because it is already 2 GB memory. But when it comes to AWS, when it comes to cloud computing, so there, like, there is a set of data, okay. This are data centers created at specific locations, okay. And from those data centers, we get these services, we get these machines, we get these databases as per our requirement, and that is totally covered through internet, okay. So it is like, let's suppose you want one database, one PostgreSQL database, 2 GB memory, 1 vCPU. What you will do, you will go to some cloud provider, you will put your request there that I need this, and then they will assign you that specific database. Then it will be totally yours, okay. Like there are multiple scenarios where it can be totally yours, it can be shared one. But yeah, if you are assigned with some database or some resource by cloud, then it will be totally yours, okay. So if you see, with cloud computing you don't need to make large upfront investments, okay. So let's suppose there's some requirement where you need heavy workload, but that is required for very small time. So if we go to that on-premises time, then we need to buy that at any cost, even though it is needed for some time. But now what we can do, it's like we can take it on rent from some cloud provider, do our work, whatever we need to do, and then deallocate it. Okay. Then they will provide it to someone else, whoever needs it. So it is like, cloud computing is like simple way to access servers, storages, database, like broad set of services over internet. So there are multiple cloud providers in the market. Out of that, Amazon Web Services, that is AWS, is one. We have Microsoft Azure, we have DigitalOcean, we have GCP. Okay, we have too many other cloud providers which are there in market now. Okay, so when AWS started, so it's back in 2006 when AWS, like Amazon Web Services, began offering IT infrastructure services to businesses as web services. So earlier those were known as these web services, but now those are known as cloud computing. Okay, where we are providing the compute resources over cloud, over internet. Okay, So, do you get the idea of what this cloud computing is?
Hmm. It's like you can use over the internet.
Yeah, like you are getting
Hmm.
these machines, you are getting the resources over the internet. In return, you are just paying to them. Okay, you are just paying
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
whatever you use. It is like whatever you use, you just pay for that. It's not like you bought it and then it's your. You paid a large amount and now it's yours. It's not like that. It's like for how much time you want to use, whatever you want to use, you can buy that. You can take it as a service, pay as you go. As so, there are multiple uh, like like multiple ways for paying. So few are like pay as you go, so it is like whatever service you are using you will pay every month. There are few services where you allocate your resources for years. So even though those are like little cheaper, so let's suppose you are taking something on rent for a year or 2 year, so it will be little cheaper than paying every month. Okay, so those are multiple types of like billing models which are there in these computing. So yeah, but this is about cloud computing. So basically key characteristics of it is on demand self service. Okay, so whatever we need we can take it as on demand. Broad network access, mesh. Okay, so broad network access is there. So if I come to these advantages, trade fixed expense for variable expense. Okay, what I mentioned, instead of having heavily investment in data centers and service before you know how you are going to use them, the, in cloud you can just take whatever you want to pay, even though if it doesn't work it will cost you little pennies for like a few weeks or few days, and then you know like it is not working for us, then you can release it. Okay, you won't need to pay for that. But if you set it up in data center, then it's all yours and you already paid for it. Now benefit from massive economies of scale. So it is like by using this you can achieve lower variable cost than you can get on your own. Okay, so it's like let's suppose you have hundred of thousand customers. Okay, then if you are like if you are paying, if you are providing service to one customer. Okay, not one. Let's think it about. Let's suppose you are paying a service to 10 customers, or if you are paying the same service to 20 customers. So it will cost you nearly same. Okay, not but yeah, it won't be like for 10 customers and for 20 customers it will be doubled. Okay, it would be somewhere around 1.5 maximum. Like let's suppose you are providing, like you created your node data center. Okay, now you have to provide the resources for users. So even though if users are increasing, then it won't be like that in the ratio where in what ratio users are increasing, the cost will increase in that ratio to you. Okay, because there will be definitely some purge resources which are of no use for for few customers, which you can provide for other customers. Okay, so it is like like if your community becomes large, then it will definitely give you benefits. So it is like that. Now the third one is stop guessing capacity. Okay, so here you don't need to guess the capacity for your application. You can simply takes, like let's suppose if you are thinking like my application will need 2 GB resources, but so you can pull 8 GB resources and you can run your application, try it for few days. Okay, and if it is working perfectly in 2 GB, then you can take lower resource machine and use that. Okay, so this is clear for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Even though you can scale down, you can scale up, so you don't need to worry for that. Now again, increase speed and agility. So speed is because these resources are like these are the machines which are there like having high compute resources out of them, which you are getting even though you are getting little less resources, but those machines are very big machines. So like cloud computing provide high speed and agility is like it doesn't, you don't need to worry for that agility because it needs to be managed by that cloud computing service. You don't need to spend money on running the data center. That's valid. And go global in minutes. So these data centers, like you can easily deploy the application and then it will be globally active. It won't be like it is enabled on your data center, then you need to set it up on some other data center. It is like you set it up on one data center and it is global. Okay, so these are the advantages of cloud computing. So now if it comes to deployment models, how to deploy, so do you have any doubt for the for this part, like cloud
It's
computing?
like it's like we need to give any permissions here, like in order to use for other people.
No, like for if you want to use it, then you need to use CLI. But if you want the
Mm.
user, so basically what will happen if you deploy some website, okay? So you will provide
Mm.
that DNS or I can say domain name to that. For example,
Mm.
google.com, okay? Once you provide
Mm.
that, then it will route to that your machine, to your hosted machine, and the end user will be able to access it. But yeah, for you to access your services, you would need either CLI or else from the web console as well. So AWS have their own web console. From there you can set up the services. Okay, from where you can select the, you can choose the service which you want to take. Then you can create your own resources, like you can create your own instance with whatever resource you want, with whatever flavor of operating system you need, and then you can connect it to it via CLI, and then you can use it.
Okay, brother.
Okay, so basically
Mm.
if comes to cloud computing type, so it is like cloud, completely cloud, private cloud means on premises part, okay, and then hybrid. So hybrid is like few data is there in cloud, few data is there in private cloud. So it is like we can say this. Now let's come to so yeah, security wise, these whatever cloud provider is providing the services, those are taking the security part at highest priority. Even though if we come to this, they are following all these compliances. So these are the compliances which are needed for any organization to be followed for security purposes, for like IT infrastructure and other things. So AWS is also managing all these.
What does it, brother? What does it mean by compliance, brother? Like,
So these are like there are few term and conditions written under all these compliances or whatever these standards. So there are security standards maintained under these SOC1, SOC2, SOC3. So all these security standards needs to be managed by AWS. So this is like these are kind of cyber security part. Okay, but yeah, so these needs to be managed by any cloud provider. So AWS provide all these security. So it's like your data will remain safe, you will cut cost by data centers, you can change, even though on from data center to data center, for few of the data centers cost will be different. So for data centers where like resources are easily available, cost is less, while for few data centers, even only on AWS, I'm talking about AWS only, so it would be like if you are deploying a resource on one data center and you are deploying resource on another data center region, you can get a difference in billing. Okay, and that is because of easiness of resource available. So when it comes to services, Okay, so AWS provide a large number of services. Okay, so if you come to see, like, these are the topics. So topics means
Mm.
the fields which AWS is providing the services for. So
Okay.
it is providing for analytics, it is providing for blockchain, like it has set of services, those are available for these, for setting up the business applications, financial management, for compute as well. Compute means here like raw machines. It is like raw EC2, we can say a Linux
Mm.
machine, Ubuntu machine, okay.
Okay.
Customer enablement as well. So if you are having some big organization where you want multiple, where you are managing multi-tenant applications, so you can get some service which will help you in customer enablement. It provide ECS for containers, okay, for managing the containers, for databases as well, for developer tools like which developers used to use, okay, for deploying the front end web applications, for deploying the mobile services, for setting up the games, okay, for like gaming technology, IoT, as for providing the IoT, ML, AI, like all these service, or like AWS has set of services which can get covered under all these topics, okay.
Okay.
And it's not
Mm.
like it will only have one service for this business application, one service for blockchain. It can have
Mm.
multiple services for blockchain, okay. So if I go to blockchain, there are like AWS managed blockchain is there, uh, okay. For business applications we have these much services are there. Alexa for
Mm.
business, AWS App Fabric, Chime, Connect, Pinpoint, SES. So these are the services which are provided. But let's start with the basic services first, okay. And so for that I'm going to compute, okay, because we should start with raw data first,
Mhm.
okay. So compute services means the services which are like which we can use for like running running our resource, running our applications, similar to what we are running on our machine, okay. So let's suppose you are using one Linux machine, you are running some application there. Now if you
Mm.
need some machine similar to your machine, then you can go and AWS and choose some compute service and then use it. So if you see, these all are the compute services. EC2,
Mm.
so it comes, EC2 like EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud. So here we can get the machines, okay, we can get compute machines where we can run whatever we want, okay. So we can simply go to AWS, ask for, okay, I need a machine of Ubuntu flavor with 4 GB memory or 8 GB memory, 4 core CPU. We can we can take that. It will create, like, once we provide all these instructions, one machine will get created, and then we can connect from our CLI to use it, okay.
Mm.
Container services, so in future you will learn about in coming sessions what containers are. So for hosting those containers, specific services are there, okay. Multiple services are
Okay.
there. If you see, there are multiple services: ECS anywhere, EKS is there, EKS anywhere, then ECR is there for storing the images. So these all like for hosting the container applications. Serverless compute is like you don't need to define your requirement there, okay. So here, like, till now what I was mentioning, like you need 8 GB memory or you need 4 GB memory, okay. But
Mm.
at the same time you were getting one machine, you were getting one you were getting one machine, okay, virtual machine. But in serverless you don't need to define the machine, like it won't be bind to 8 GB or 4 GB only. So it is like initially you can say I need 4 GB memory and 2 core CPU. At same type, after 2 hours, okay, it's if it's not your, it's not working as per your requirement, you can put the requirement like I need 8 GB memory. Okay, so what will happen? It will increase it without changing anything. So it is like vertical scaling. Okay, so it will
Mm.
increase the resources. If in these compute resources like EC2, if you want to update the machine, you need to create a new machine. Okay, but here in serverless is like you don't need to worry for the server. Okay, you can take initially less, then you can increase it. You can initially take higher resources, then you can scale them down. So it's like you don't need to uh, worry for, like, you don't need to worry that, oh, I set up this machine, I need to set it up again after updating the resources. Okay, so serverless is for that purpose. This on-premise edge is for managing the on-premises resources and compute resources together. So if you have some application where you need to manage like these 8 cloud resources while working with on-premises application, so it is for, let's suppose you are working on some migration from on-premises to cloud, then you would need it. These cost optimization, for cost optimization we have these services like saving plans are there. So saving plans are like you can buy, like you can take a machine for a year, it will save you cost. There are spot instances concept as well. So spot instances are those instances which are of no use. Okay, like no use
Mm.
means those are the machines which are like currently not dedicatedly assigned to someone, and you can get them at like less price, but those are like, those can be pulled up from you at any time. It's not like those are dedicatedly assigned to you, those can get pulled up from you anytime. Okay, this
Okay.
load balancing, so this load balancing, like this is one of the service, so it is for managing the load. So let's suppose you have created 10 EC2 machines, okay, where you have hosted your application. Now
Mm.
how will you manage, like, from the end user? So, and there are 10 machines and you have 10,000 users at any moment of time. Let's take example
Okay.
of any booking service, okay, any ticket booking uh, platform, where at any instance user number will be too high. What
Mm.
elastic load balancing do is it will route the traffic to those machines, to our machines where our application is hosted in, like, such that that single machine won't get all the requests at once. So if 10 machines are there, 100 users are coming, then it will send the request to these EC2 machines, like one user first machine, second user second machine, third user third machine. So there are different algorithms. Okay, so one is round robin, in which one request will go to one machine, second request second machine, third, then once, like, after 10th request, 11th request will go again to the first machine. Okay,
Okay.
so in this is round robin. Few others are there, like others are like where, like, it depends on load, how much load is on one machine, it will check that and don't send the traffic to that. So but yeah, round robin is the mostly used here. And these load balancers, so these are the, there are three type of load balancers there. Mostly used are two: application and network gateway, network load balancer. So this application load balancer works on layer 8 of our network architecture, while network layer load balancer works on layer 4. Okay, so do you have any doubts here in elastic compute? Any doubt?
Mm, understood.
Okay, so again, these are the services, these are the multiple services. Okay, but yeah,
Mm.
these are enough to start with AWS, because these are the
This
basic.
computing service,
Sorry.
mostly we use only computing service. in DevOps?
No, see, we use other services as well, but for starting, because see, initially we should know how this cloud works. Then we should know how to
Mm.
deploy the applications there. But yeah, for
Mm.
see, if you have to deploy some web application and you want to like manage everything on your own, then yes, this is enough. We can consider few parts like Route 53 for domain management as well,
Mm.
but these are enough because this part is complete in itself, because we are storing the images there in ECR, we are deploying the Kubernetes over Kubernetes. If you have listened about Kubernetes, so
No, I didn't listen.
okay, so this is where Kubernetes comes in picture.
Mm-hmm.
Then our application gets deployed over this Kubernetes. This ELB will work in front of that Kubernetes to route the traffic to this Kubernetes, and on top of
Mm.
that ELB we will have one Route 53 which will receive the request from outside world, from the public world. Okay, but yeah,
Okay.
apart from there, these the few other basic services are those databases. Okay, let me go to
Mm.
that. First, let's compare these compute resources. So,
Okay.
instances, virtual machines. If you see like what all services are providing virtual machines, so these are one EC2, EC2 spot instances, as I mentioned, auto scaling. So all these are working for providing, like these are the categories of virtual machines. Then containers, again ECS, EKS, ECR. Okay, these all are the services. Serverless,
Mm.
Lambda, Edge and hybrid. These, I think these were the capabilities. So these are the ones which we discussed already at the top. Okay.
Mm.
Now let me go to RDS. Okay. So I'm going to databases now. So
Okay.
cloud, like over cloud, we can directly get on the database services. Okay. So database is available inside RDS. So Amazon RDS is among the one database service, and so like we have two type of databases, if you know, relational and non-relational. So in non-relational, we don't have those tables. We directly have tables, sorry, but in these relational we will have tables, and like databases, inside the databases we will have schemas and other things. Okay,
Mm.
so if it comes to relational, we have these two databases mostly used, Amazon RDS and Amazon Aurora. So all the databases like PostgreSQL, SQL, all comes under this RDS. Okay. So if I go to this uh, Aurora DynamoDB, RDS or DB2, wait. Okay. So if it comes to databases, so for relational we have all these type of databases, Amazon Aurora, Amazon
Mm.
RDS, Redshift. So this is the like for like this is created by Amazon now. Earlier we only have this RDS, but now with Aurora, like it provide high performance for MySQL and PostgreSQL. Like now PostgreSQL and MySQL are compatible with Aurora as well, but RDS is among the one like legacy we can say, where we have availability for all the relational databases. Okay. So RDS is like all relational databases availability, while Aurora is having only MySQL and PostgreSQL compatibility. So
Mm.
RDS will have MS SQL database as well and others as well. Now, when it comes to key value, okay, so if you want to store data in the form of key value, okay, then you can use this Amazon DynamoDB. So it is kind of NoSQL database. So we would be covering this database part later. But yeah, like just to understand that we have these services for AWS, like for providing the databases as well. Mostly used ones are Amazon RDS, Amazon Aurora. Here DocumentDB is used mostly, and Elastic Cache is used for Redis. So these are the ones which are mostly used. These are not. These are kind of graph, ledger. So these are very lessly used. So these are the ones. In relational, both are of use. Aurora is cheaper than RDS, while in non-relational we will use DynamoDB, DocumentDB, and Elastic Cache. Okay, so do you have any doubts related to this database now?
But it's like, even though in the computing we don't have any database, but in the computing,
See, don't get confused to that compute part. Okay, compute is like where we are getting the resources where we can execute our own, like everything on compute services are like raw machine. Okay, so machine is like compute is like where you can run. So let's suppose you get one machine. Okay, you got one Linux machine. You can do anything there, right? You can run database there, you can host database, you can host application. Okay,
yes.
so compute service is like that. We can host our application, we can, so over this Amazon EC2 as well you can host your database, but then it's your
Okay.
responsibility to manage that database. If it is hosted, if it is hosted under RDS, okay, then it's, then you are getting a service from AWS. So there are multiple, like, okay, let's go to that part. I don't think models will be there. IAC. Okay, so under this document, these cloud service models are not there, but yeah, like we have majorly three type of models. If you have ever listened, infrastructure as a code, platform as a infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and then software as a service. So in infrastructure as a service, what you will get, you will get all machine. Okay, you will get a machine, you will get EC2 machine, and then it's your responsibility to manage whatever you are doing over it. Let me check. Okay, infrastructure as a code. uh, it's not there, yeah. So in infrastructure as a service, you are just getting infrastructure, then it's your responsibility what to set up it there. Okay, platform as a service,
Okay, brother.
in platform as a service, it provide platform. Okay, it is like what I talked about, this RDS, about ECS. So it provide whole platform. Platform is created for you. You just need to take your like you just need to manage it. If you are getting platform as a service, like RDS, so what you will be doing, you will be creating the RDS, then you will be defining how much, what you need, how much memory you need, how, like whatever you need, and then you can simply use it. Then the third thing is software as a service. Okay, so software as a service, if I give example, so it is like Google Workspace or Microsoft 365, where you are getting all the things there. Okay, software, like in platform as a service, you can take your code. Okay, you can run it there. In software as a service, you don't need to even do anything, like everything you are getting, you just need to manage it. Manage in the sense you just need to use it. Okay, so this is how this works. So these compute resources, these are part of infrastructure as a service. There you are getting the virtualized computing resources. You can do whatever you want there. but then it's your responsibility how to manage it. While
Mm.
it comes to platform as a service, it won't be your responsibility, it will be the service provider responsibility. Your responsibility is just to host your code or host like whatever for whatever purpose you need it, just host it
Mm.
and then use it. While in software as a service, you are just using that software. Okay, so if you see Google Meet, let's take example of Google Meet. So you are, this
Mm.
is kind of software as a service where you are using that software provided by AWS, and you are just using it as provided by Google, and you are just using it as a service. So you don't need to even worry about anything there. In platform as a service, you need to make sure you have like you have like platform will be provided by the cloud provider whichever you are using. You just need to put your code, your service, your like whatever you need there. So if it comes to database, in database will be provided by cloud service. Now it's up to you where you have to use it. Okay,
Mm.
how you need to manage the data inside it, what tables you want to create, that's your responsibility.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Let me go to top.
This Azure is same as AWS, brother?
Yeah, Azure is similar to AWS, like providing
Mm.
the compute resources. But yeah, these
Mm.
naming will be definitely different. Like here we have EC2. In Azure
Mm.
we have these as virtual machines. Okay, VMs.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Similarly for others like DNS and other things, everything is different. So if you see in this document, it is providing like each and every part. Like for analytics, how many services are there? For
Mm.
integration, these services are there. But it comes once you know the requirement. Okay.
Mm.
For
What we required and what we should use.
yeah, it these
Mm.
are these needs to be used after you have requirement. So if you have some requirement where you just need one machine and you need to deploy some simple application there, then you can simply go come take EC2 and deploy that application. If you have some bigger application, then you can go and take this and it is containerized, then you can use EKS. For databases,
Mm.
we have these much databases, so you can like once you have requirement, then you can check okay which database I should use, whether it is relational, whether it is non-relational, and what should I use. These are the developer tools which mostly be used by developers. Code build for building the code, deploy code pipeline, so these are used by them. For front end web application deployment, we have this app Amplify. So what you can do with this is, if you have code, you can simply provide your code, your GitHub repo to Amplify. Okay, providing the GitHub application to Amplify means you can simply go add your GitHub URL. Okay, you can go to AWS, search for Amplify, add your GitHub URL there. It will set up CI/CD pipeline and it will deploy your application and provide you one URL, with which URL you can access your application.
Mm.
So this is like that. So we have these much services. Okay, we can learn these services one by one when we start. Like we won't be covering all the services anyways. We would be
Mm.
covering
Mm.
like computer services, database services, or like these
Mm.
networking services where this VPC and other things are there. And we will be covering
Mm.
uh, these sec- these security one as well, few of them like secrets manager web. For storage, how we manage the storage means disk here. Okay, we discussed about memory and CPU till now. Now let's suppose you need 10 GB of memory, 10 GB of disk, then you can take it from EBS. Okay, EBS, EFS. So EFS, these are the services there. But yeah,
Okay.
you don't need to, we like no one needs to learn all these services because no one will be using all of them. But yeah,
Mm.
it's up to the requirement. So yeah, like that is all about this introduction to AWS. Do you have any
Okay.
doubts?
It's okay, but it's like AWS is like it is not free now, brother. We need to buy.
Yeah, see, like there are few free tier services where you can
Mm.
get machines, but those are like you will get 720 hours of free, like free tier, and those would be like
Mm-hmm.
if it comes to AWS EC2. Okay, so there is
Mm.
one specific type of compute. Okay, that is T3 dot micro, that will just provide
Okay.
you 1 GB of memory, zero point 0.5 core CPU,
Mm.
or 1 core of CPU, I'm not remembering exactly. That comes just under this, that
Mm-hmm.
just comes under this like free tier. So few of the services, like few services have few tiers at few of cost, but those are again like, means you can't say that it is free. If even though if you
Mm.
buy some bigger like service and forget to delete it, then it will cost you too much.
This brother, I got like I think my BTech fourth year, like my teacher like said me this thing AWS. Then I don't know. I created account. I bought something from till now. I'm getting the bill. I don't know what they did
Yeah, like it
by doing that.
happens, it used to happen. Like let's suppose you created some resource in some some different region, you forgot where you created it, then there are
Mm.
then you need to go to each region, you need to check where and what you have created. So there would be some bigger resource which you have deployed and you forgot, it will keep giving you
Mm.
bill. So the best way is to go to cost management and see what is uh, due to what you are getting that high bill, and then you can remove that service.
Okay, okay. Mm. I created a new account now. It's like that account is closed.
Okay, yeah, make sure to deploy the
Mm.
services and then delete them at same time once you are done with your like practice. Otherwise, it will
Yeah.
cost you again.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Mm.